Hey guys. Sorry. I was looking at what we were actually going to be working on today and completely missed that the countdown was over. So what? They broke my mouse? Oh, come on. Sure no one broke anything, but gotta try and open this up because I'd really hate to have to restart the computer because my mouse not working. I really am gonna have to restart, aren't I? And this keeps happening too. The computer's been acting weird lately, and now my pen is like, oh, you should have tried me out first. I'm not doing anything for you. So that's kind of sad. Because now I can't draw with my pen. Which means I literally need to start the thing over again, but I guess we're just going to be switching back to traditional because, well, I don't want to restart the computer, so... But, as we do have here, so I was thinking about I was going to work on this Time Ninja and see which colors I really liked. Like, I'm really feeling this one. I like that. But then I really do like these gray ones, but I don't want him to be Scorpion. You know, like he's got a really strong Scorpion vibe with the tan colors. And I'm trying to stay, I would like to stay away from that, but it's also some of the cooler colors. They're stopping by as I'm grading students' work. Nice. Thanks, man. Oh, you guys are already working? Is it the end of the summer session, or? Because I don't start until a couple weeks. But that's for the fall semester. And then I got, like I said, I don't, like I had a look for him already. Like these were the colors I was gonna go with, but I really don't want him to be Scorpion. And so with these colors here, yes, UMGC summer session, gearing up for 3 at GMU. Okay, nice. So maybe the orange or purple. Yeah, I'm looking at these two. Like the purple one, I think is really pushes it out, right? But the hard part about this is because of the silhouette, right? The silhouette has really been pushed into Scorpion and Sub-Zero, right? They have that flare out, and I really do enjoy that. And I wanted to make sure I had one of my ninjas have that. But it'll instantly throw it into Mortal Kombat land, whilst granted it already is in Mortal Kombat land because it's ninjas. But the purple one would be Rain from Mortal Kombat. I want to trying to stay away from that too. There's a lot to stay away from. I mean, eventually it's just gonna all come back together. Like if I used green, he'd look like Reptile. So I was thinking, like I was trying to go with this like light blue, you know, or this cool gray here, and maybe with these like this color right here, you know, or maybe a warm gray with that. Kind of breaks it up so it's not completely this. Like this is Scorpion's colors, right? Majority of this tan, darker colors. This would be more of a warm gray with the tan working, but it's more of a highlight than anything else. Hey there. Orange. I think the mask gives him Scorpion vibe the most. Do you have personality traits you need to match the color scheme? No. No, the personality does not in this case equal the color scheme. But I did make him, I wanted him to be religious. So he believed, because he has the ability to mess with time, and, you know, he's starting to believe that, you know, he believes in his God, that the God gave him this power to shape the world in his image, not in the ninja's image, but in his God's image. That's why, I mean, if you look, right, we got a little, on his belt, he's got a praying person. Like, that was, it's kind of important to me. He's got the prayer beads, right? So I wanted to have that. So you know, I started looking at this, you know, like really lighter colors. So saffron robes. Before I mess that up. More of an orange type. Oops. Like that. White and gold. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I think most of my colors are always dark, right? But then we have this like red and white. I kind of like this with the white beads. Right, I like this color. Not rose per se, but the Buddhist yellow, yeah. Because I mean, honestly, this was his, like, we were going, like, this was his original color scheme. But as the story progressed, I knew things were gonna change. But I mean, I like this one too. Like, that's cool. Like, this one keeps calling out to me, like this white, like this one, right? Or maybe we actually just push it, instead of this off-white, we push it to a white like we had. You know, for me right now, I think it's between, like, this lower grouping right here is where I think we're getting somewhere. Probably even these last four. I think those are cool. And I do like this one. I like the idea of this one as well. Stark white. So we're gonna try and work with this. Like, I like this white, and I like the red and white, and then this. So we're gonna pull this one down, and we're gonna play a little bit with the mask. We're gonna see about that. See what we can do about that one. Even though, like, luckily it's all flat colors, so I can still do this with the mouse. And since it's all really just kind of sketches, it all works out, so they don't have to be perfect. So Chris, you were asking before, you were asking about, do I do sketches, right? So, like, do I do thumbnails for my characters? And first you said you agree. What do you agree with? It'd be cool if you put a clock in his design in some way. I don't want it to be so over the nose, or so on the nose, because the triple symbol here is supposed to represent time, right? So to us it doesn't mean stuff, but in the world each one of these means something else, and together they represent time. Like I said, you were agreeing about something, but you were talking about thumbnails, and let me show you the actual thumbnail process. So I generally start with a head. All right, go all the way to the front one. So I generally start with a head design, right? I'll sketch that out, generally do a profile, and placing of the white with white. Okay. But I'll start with a profile, kind of get an idea, and then I'll just come in and I'll draw what I think it's going to look like in the front, and then I will, you know, go through many iterations of the masks and stuff, or the face, to determine which one I think I want, and I'll do a final rendering like I did here, right? Then I go here, okay, and I will have, oh wait, I think I started here. So this was, you know, there's my scribble, right? But then I have, got rid of this, nope, this, okay, right? And so this also shows different masks. Like, you can see that I did different mask colors, and then we did different design here, right? And so we were doing different designs, and then it still changed as we ended up on the lower end. We still changed it, right? But as far as these go, so we'll take that out. So I don't know if you guys can see that. So I've designed a template, right, for my character. It's a base character, right? So it's kind of a base figure that I have that will allow me to put my character ideas on top of it. And so I have that profile, which is what I use primarily for character design, because I believe that you can get a lot of information out just on the head, or just the character, just on a profile, right? So just a side shot, you can put a lot of information in there that will then tell you about the character moving forward. And so I then take that profile and I come to this, so I don't have to constantly sketch the proportions again and again and again. I have this. And then if I have a smaller person, right, I'll come into Photoshop and I'll shrink it down. You know, I'll make him thinner, but it'll still stay proportionate. So I can come in and select like the waist and the chest and make him smaller, or if he's really big, I can make him bigger. Or if I'm trying to draw someone who's really short, you know, I can manipulate the proportions of these drawings, these blue line drawings, so that I can then copy and paste and copy and paste. And when I'm doing it traditionally, which I have done, I don't know if I have them. It's like, hold on, let me see if I have them traditionally hanging around somewhere. I don't think so. Oh yeah, I do. So I do, like this way, right? So I then do that, right? And so I do, it's a blue line or grayscale if I don't have color print, if I don't have a color printer, right? And then I'll just do ideas on top of it. You know, I'll scribble and I'll just be like, all right, well, what about this or what about that? And then what happens is this. Okay, so if I do it on the computer, this happens. So the body is already set with the proportion standards for graphic novels, so you may have a dwarf or elf template too. Exactly. And so then I'm like, all right, this is where it started, right? And then I'm like, okay, I like this. We'll have the fishnets, right? And sometimes the first one is relatively close to what you want, but you never, ever, 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 ever want to stop with your first design. You remember, like, never, ever, ever. Yeah, I have a female one. I'm putting together the really big, like, brute guy, and then I'm gonna do the teenager and stuff, and the dwarf and stuff like that. But then it's, you know, all right, what did I like about that? Well, this is kind of the helmet. Okay, so we'll do this. I want to change the pants, maybe something here. And then as you will see, like, I might not do a lot of variation. Like here, it's like, bam, bam. Okay, let's try something different. You know what? I really like where this was going. And then it's, okay, here's this. And then minor changes start happening, right? And you're like, okay, so this was white. We make that black. And we make it white pants. And you're like, okay, go from here. So this becomes all white, no sleeves, black pants, total black, white pants, you know, and then you go off, you're like, all right, so maybe he has wrist bucklers, you know, Yes, especially when you deal with a huge number of characters for certain traits. Right, right. And you know, in graphic novel, at least in like superhero stuff, majority of the people are the same size except for spectators. You know, and the spectators, they vary in size, and then when you deliberately go, this is going to be a really big guy or a really small guy or an overweight person, right, and you make it specific, then you have to design that again. But generally speaking, your superheroes look all this, have roughly the same body type, right? And then, you know, just you do these little changes. I think this one might not be the best example of how I actually go through like multiple changes, but you can see that there are, you know, little changes that happen to try and find the right, like, what do I want to do? Do I want this where the shoulder shows, or do I want some intricate kind of design on the forearm, or do I want to put a tattoo there? Oh wait, let me put some beads there. But I think this one was better for that situation. Let's see, Milo Thumbs. Yeah, okay, so this character was definitely different. Alright, so, you know, I had this character, I was running off of this before I made my own template. And then, so, with this guy, it was, I wanted him to be, you know, this was for someone, and they like Spider-Man. So it was all the idea of trying to do something Spider-Man-esque, you know, and how do we make it? And this is when I changed the body type when I actually finished the drawing, because he's a lot thinner, which I'll show you. But, you know, it's like, okay, we'll start here. Then, okay, maybe we'll do some spider webs, right? Different design on the shirt. Spiderweb top, got this little flowing tunic. All right, maybe we'll switch it this way. And then what happened, what I started realizing was, well, if he's supposed to be jumping around and doing this kind of parkour stuff, while yes, it looks nice when stuff is flowing all over the place, the bigger thing is that it would get in the way, right? Like, logically speaking, it's gonna get in the way. And so why put it there, you know, if your character is meant to be jumping around, right? And so then it started to get thinner as Spidey is a teenager, skinny kid. Yep. Well, let's see. I mean, he's a grown man, but he's really lanky, like, or at least I thought he would. His as far as from this goes. So let's see. My flats color, right? So see, it's a lot longer and thinner than how big this chest, you know, like how big that chest is. It's how, you know, tiny that is. So he's gotten a lot skinnier to jump around. And then, even though I say, you know, you got this stuff and it's like, oh, well, you don't want to be jumping around, this character likes to show off. So that's why he had the two, you know, those two tunic flaps. But I started thinking about taking them off. It's like, no, we don't need them. Didn't last very long, but I brought it back, right? And then let's change this style. Scribbles, come back over here. Maybe it's only half here to do something asymmetrical. What's up, AG? Then, you know, it's like, okay, well, let's see. Oh, I like this one, maybe that one. Here we go. Come back, you know, and I took something from here, and I was like, okay, well, let's jump a little bit more on this one and these two, and I combined them here. And then as you move, you started, you know, like this got thicker. You know, it's like this one got thicker. I got rid of these knives, right? And then it was like, well, do we want full arms or do we want it asymmetrical? So it's like, no, we'll do this, right? And then we ended up here, right? And then I took this, and then we made, right? I drew it up. No, wait, did I draw it first? I think I drew it. So I drew it first, right? Yeah. So I drew it and I inked it up first because I was like, well, the black and whites are fine. So here's the, here's my inks. Character design construction. Yeah, I'm showing one of my students. He asked about if I did thumbnails for my character designs, and I'm showing him my process. So, very famous Frank Frazetta of the Warrior with horned helmet about to strike overhead chop. His arms would have never cleared his helmet horns to make the strike costume must be logical. Yeah, that's my thing. I really like form follows function, or I try as much as possible. Sometimes I do fake it for the sake of flair. It's like, oh, let's make it look really cool. So I do fake it for that, but for the most part I try and make it functional, because one of the big things that I've realized is that I start looking at a lot of different people doing ninjas and samurai and fantasy stuff like that, and there'll be a guy with a sword that's longer than he is or she is, and it's attached to their waist. So I'm like, how do you even pull that sword out? Like, how is that? I mean, it's cool that when they stand there, they got this, and they got this huge long sword, but I'm like, how are you, when you're fighting, do you start pulling it out in sections, like, hold on, let me get it out the sheath first? So I try really hard to make it work, like it would work. And then I started doing different colors, right? Started off with what I thought I wanted from the get-go. It's like, this is what I want. I like the idea of having white in a lot of characters because it's different. Yes, exactly, like Bleach. I think his favorite color was blue, so that's why I wanted to add the blue, and then you can just see where it changed, and then it's like, all right, let's do brown. Let's see if we can make it more natural. Here, then we move on, and then it's like white and gray, green and brown. Here's that purple. Eventually I'm gonna get a purple ninja in there. I think the reason why I won't do purple or the tan with the Time Ninja is solely because of the shoulder spikes from the clothing, because that is old school and new school Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And then you just play around with colors, skin tone, right? Sometimes I do a bunch of these, and sometimes you get to something, you're like, all right, that's it, right? And you find your color, right? And then you're like, all right, I still want it to be this color. And so I did a couple more, but then he's like, oh, well, I want these dark, but this light. He wants to see people, and then he is of the spider family, so these gauntlets, right, they look like eyes, but they're the energy power, and there's 4 on each side. You got the 8 eyes, the 8 legs. And then I went and did weapons. So this is the character design element of the little minute details, right? So he's got 1 weapon, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and himself, right? Like he himself is a weapon. So that's 8 weapons, 8 eyes, spider, so just little things like that to add to your character. It might go unnoticed, like absolutely unnoticed, but once someone actually sees it, then it's like, oh man, that's pretty sweet, and I try and give some type of contrast or some type of story within the character design. So the main character's sword is impossible. Also helps when you show others that you have and see what they think. Yep. Close of a wolf spiders freak me out. Yeah. Yes. But this is a great process, if you're stuck and you're just like, especially if you get a character design template and they're going, hey, this is what we need, this is what we want. You can come in and just these are scribbles, they didn't take long. I did these on stream, and I was just like scribble, and I was getting feedback from people, and it's like, oh, what about this or that? And I'm like, oh, okay, we're moving here. It's like, oh, I like that. Like, oh yeah, that's really cool, and then it was like, hey, you should do a spider tattoo, and then I'm like, really? Like this? Nope. nope, not gonna work, right? And so you just knock these out and you keep moving, right? And then eventually you come up with a character design, right? And then I think coming back to these, you know, I mean, you might get lucky, you might get really lucky at the very beginning, but you still got to try some out. And what happened was I was like, okay, let's try this. You know what? I did this again. I'm like, no, okay, we got to try something different. And then it came back to this guy. I'm like, okay, I think this is where we're going to go. Like, you might nail it right off the bat. You might. But even though, you know, we went, okay, so we went to this guy, right? Because he changed his pants and stuff like that. So on the third one, we came back to it, but then it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 iterations of this character before we landed on, yes, this is what I want, right? So even with that, that's still 16. Sometimes I have 2 or 3 sheets of these guys where I'm just nailing out ideas because anything can go, and I'm like, I don't know where to go with this. Let me try this. Let me try that. Who knows? Let's see. Let's figure, you know, and I think it's a lot of fun. And then when I'm not stuck in front of my computer, right, I'll even do the colors traditionally, right? So I'll even do it all in marker. And then there's, you know, oops, nope, this one. I don't know where I'm at. This one. Right? And so, like, it's just something that I really, because it allows me to figure stuff out, and none of these concepts are really lost, you know. So I did these, right, and I might come back, maybe not these, but there's some things where I'm like, okay, that'll work. Like this guy, very plain and simple, get rid of the spider thing, and he might just become a, you know, like a bystander or someone in the background where you're like, all right, this guy is, you know, he's the one tilling the field. So it's very simple, you know, and it's like, all right, let's go with that. But these colors, right, like the color designs, like these brown ones and stuff, it's like, all right, well, that might work for someone else, you know. So you don't get rid of them because you can look at them and be like, I like this color, like this was that color that I was looking for. And what's funny is when you get like a color, you're playing with a color picker, and then you're like, this one, and this one, and you're still playing with purple, and you don't really see it, and you go to another character and you pick a color, and like, that's an awesome color. I like that color. I like it, you know? And you're like, okay, I'm gonna use this for another character, right? So these are great. I highly recommend them. When I was teaching character design class, I gave out my templates, and I was like, here, use these because it'll help you, and you don't have to worry about your proportions. You know, you can just move forward with just coming up with the costuming and the character design. I'm really enjoying this year's Ninjagus, by the way. I'm glad you like it. I wanted to do some ninjas based on insects. Thought it would be fun. And I like that you're actually putting a story to each one of them. I, on the other hand, am just going, what kind of character can I make out of this bug? And then, you know, what can I use later on? And after 3 pages, you may still settle on one midway down page 2. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's the thing. And what I'm always telling my students when it comes to doing stuff like this, or just thumbnailing in general, when I'm over there doing graphic design and stuff, it's like, you got to do these thumbnails because you got to get these ideas out, not because you're going to use them, but because you need to see which ones are garbage. You know, that's the big one where you go, not that, because everything is up for grabs, and you might not like something that someone else does, and you might know out of your training, if you have training or if you learned and practice and stuff, you're like, that's horrible. That if you were to show it to someone, they're gonna be like, I want that one. And now you're attached to something that you know is garbage. So this allows you to get all of your ideas out on paper and then go, yeah, no, not that. Not that one. You know, like this one, a spider web fishnet, that's just bad. That's bad. You know what I mean? Shouldn't happen. Or like weird. I mean, granted, I could have done some other tattoo, right? But I'm like, weird, funky side tattoo. What is that, right? And then it was funny because I was talking to Single Digit, and he was like, maybe you could do a spider web kind of on the shoulders. Stylized idea of a spider web. And so, you know, it's just, you get these little things, right? And then it keeps going here too, right? It's just this weird little design, but it's a stylized spider web. So, so when thinking of the design, do you go off personality or superpowers before you start, or make that after you go? It depends. So if I'm actually developing the character, I always start with a story. I always have the story. I have a, if I'm trying to like really work them out, if they play an important role in whatever project I'm working on, then I fill out my character sheet. Fill it out, you know, and it goes name, background, history, blah, blah, and it just tells me all about them. And I fill that out so that I know what kind of character I'm designing. It's always interesting, like over on Patreon, when people give me their character to design, and it's just like, make a character off of a wolf, and you're like, that's not really giving me a lot of information. But then I go off and I still make some little story so I can go, this is what this character would be, right? And my little story goes probably a lot deeper than most people. So it always starts with story. I think every character design starts with story. People fight me on it, and I'm like, look, it'll always start with story. Does that mean that you can't start scribbling and get a character that you're like, oh man, this character is awesome? Of course you can, right? But I guarantee it. This is a Tillman guarantee that if you had scribbled something on your paper and then wrote the story for said character, you're gonna go back to that character design and redesign it. It might not be much, but it's not gonna stay the same way, because your story starts manipulating how that character is going to be, or what they're going to wear, how they're going to style their hair or something like that, because you start getting to know that character more, and then you go, they wouldn't wear those kind of shoes, or there's no reason for them to have a hood, or there's, you know, things start happening, and you're just like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that either, right? So that's why it's imperative that you start with the story, right? You start with the story, and then you won't have to do as much redesigning with your character. Let's see. I assign a minimum of 25 thumbnails. Hey, Chris, why don't you tell Zillustration how many thumbnails you had to do for your logo? This is graphic design 1, by the way. 25 thumbnails. You're so nice. Never settle on the first design. Yep, never settle. That web reminds me of the Japanese house symbol on the robe / armor and clothing. I can see that. Yes. What's that?
Can you read me the last thing that someone commented on the YouTube? Because I can't read it because of the crack on my phone.
Which,
The last one. They comment again. There's something Japanese. That's all I saw.
oh, it says the web reminds me of the Japanese house symbol on the robes / armor / clothing.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I'm sorry. Sorry, your phone is correct.
Normally I can make it out, but it was like a really small word that like pieced together the whole sentence. And because of that like big crack right in the middle, I couldn't see it at all.
Right.
I was like,
The Tillman guarantee, copyright that. Okay, because sometimes I just want to start drawing characters in my head, and I start overthinking, being indecisive on the whole idea, collapses. Just draw, put it down on paper. There's nothing wrong with drawing. Draw, put it down. But just know that once you get to your story portion, once you're like, I'm going to do a story about this character, bam, your character's gonna change, right? Because you're gonna start outfitting your character based on the story. It's the way it is. I might be two is easy. Yep, 2 is easy. We were talking about how many thumbnails, and one of my professor colleagues, he was like, I give 25 thumbnails for an illustration, and I have one of my students who was in my graphic design class, graphic design 1, first logo, very first logo, first graphic design class, all right? And I was like, all right, we're gonna do a logo. And they're like, all right, cool. I gave them the full-on story about who the company was, what they're trying to do, what their target audience is. And I was like, all right, so, and I think it was right before we left. Because, I mean, this was definitely me throwing them into the deep end to see how they were going to handle the situation, right? And I think you had, what is it, the rest of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, yeah, because it was Tillman Tuesdays. So you had Friday, full day Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then it was due on Tuesday morning. So they had 4.5 days, and I said you had to do 1,000 thumbnails first day. And it was just like, do 1,000 thumbnails, and they're like, what? And I was like, you can do it. You can do 1,000 thumbnails. And what was funny was some of them actually got it done. You know, they knocked it out. They're like, I can do this. They cried a lot. But, you know, they came in, they're like, I got my 1,000. You're like, oh, sweet. Okay, really cool. How long did it take you? Way too long. They spent hours on it. And, you know, and then they showed me, like, are you going to grade these? I'm like, no, you can throw those all in the trash. I don't care. They were very mad at me. But then I was like, you don't have to throw them away, but I'm not grading them. That's not the point. Not the point. Not the point. Didn't care. I was like, no, I'm not giving you any extra credit. Because they asked for it. They're like, can I get extra credit because I finished? I'm like, no. And then I was like, let me show you a technique on how you can knock out these things because you're overthinking these. The reason it took you 20 hours to do these 1,000 thumbnails was because you're overthinking it, right? And so I sat them down, I'm like, all right, we're gonna do these thumbnails. You ready? I was like, all right, go. 10 seconds went by and I was like, do another one. And they're like, what? I was like, do the next one. 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. And we went for, I think, 2 minutes. And I was like, how many did you get done? Well, I got, you know, some of them only got half, so they're like, I got 6 done. I'm like, well, you should be up to 12, right? Because 10 seconds, 60 seconds, should be up to 12. And then I was like, all right, you ready? We're going to keep going. All right. And I knocked it down to 7 seconds, 5 seconds. And then I don't remember, Chris, if we went to 3. I think we may have went to like 3 seconds. You're not putting down these intricate drawings, right? You weren't, I was like, no. You should just be scribbling, you know? It's like, it deals with the moon. Okay, circle, done. Okay, let's move the circle into the corner, done. Let's move it down here, done. Let's make a dark circle, done. Let's make a crescent moon, done. Let's make a, you know, and it's just like, you have to be vomiting out ideas. Like, that's the idea. Is so that, once again, you do these thumbnails so you can get rid of the horrible ideas that you have. And what's funny is so many students and so many beginner professional designers, character designers, illustrators, whatever it is, they believe in their own abilities so much that they settle for like the first, you know, they'll do 3, 4 maybe, and they're like, oh yeah, the answer is right here. And generally speaking, and I, you know, kind of shot myself in the foot by showing my own stuff, and I was like, well, in this one I had to do multiple designs going through the whole paper, but then the other one was like, no, I kind of nailed it on the first one. I tried to do other ones and then I jumped back to the first one because that's, you know, sometimes it happens. It's very rare. I mean, I've been in the industry for 20 years. I could probably count on one hand how many times I was like, yes, I nailed it on the first try, or within the first 5. it rare. Like, you need to get that out of your head in order to make it work. And I think my graphic designers now have it. They're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, you know? And I have graduates who will show me their sketchbooks and they're like, by the way, I still hate you because now as a professional, I'm still doing all these thumbnails. Oh, excuse me, it's the wife. I'm gonna, just hold on, I'm gonna mute you guys. So I'm gonna let my son talk to you. He doesn't want to be on stream, but he's gonna talk to you, okay? Just say hi, how you doing? I'll be right back. What's up, Mike? I'm gonna be right back, okay?
Okay. Hey dudes, how are you today? I don't know what to say, so yeah. I don't know, did you guys do anything interesting today? Or something? Cause, yeah, my day was kinda lame. Or boring. So, yeah. I can't read the chat. What's that say? Oh. Yeah. This is why I can't be a streamer. I don't know how to talk to the camera. I have no idea what you guys are talking about in chat. Mostly because I haven't been here the whole stream. So, that's kind of sad. And dead. Squeaky chair. Squeaky chair. That's me. That's good that you're going to get Copic markers. I had a friend that they liked Copic markers and I never got to try them. She was stingy and she wouldn't share with me. Yeah. Gotta get... Okay. Goodbye. See you later. I hate streaming. It's so weird. Hi, Daddy.
Are we talking all the way over there? So,
Like, hello
this is the
there.
studio. Okay, do you
You
want to
could
put on
hear
a
my
mask?
squeaky chair.
Do you want to put on a mask?
Yeah. They're making fun of me because I'm
They're making fun of you?
chair.
So this is my studio. I'm just, hey people, how's it going? Can you guys still hear me? I got a guest over. Mickey Mike, when I'm on Twitch, I see him from the side, squeaky chair. I finally got my Copic markers. I got a jet wishing you good night. All right, Illustration. Bye, rest well. See ya.
You have to show up. Okay. I expect you to show up tonight.
You guys can still hear me? Okay, cool. That's good to know because I might have to do a stream as a ninja. And I gotta make sure you guys can still hear me. So this is the setup.
It's nice.
But you've seen it.
I didn't see the new. That shelf's new.
Yeah. And I need to.
And the white desk is new too.
Okay. This was all my wife.
Yes.
She's the reason why I have, you know, a professional studio. It allows me to work.
You got the, yeah, because I remember you used to have black rack over here.
Yep.
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 It's very nice. More
Yep.
spacious.
It's a little bit more open. I need to get a laser printer for the family.
See,
No, I need a laser printer because I realized I need to print a lot more stuff. I'm designing a whole new world and I have to be able to show people, so yeah.
Cool.
So
Nice.
there's that.
Tablet. What's this?
The Huion,
Okay.
Also courtesy of his wife.
also courtesy of my wife. Yep.
I dig it.
Yep.
Can't really see my mouth expressions, but
Your whole face.
Sorry, like I said,
You
I
wear a
have
mask for 9-year-olds.
I have a former student. I have a former student who's graced
What
us.
you talking about, a former student? We got
I was-
one of the best photographers in the DC metro area in the house right now.
That's true. We do. Oh, do you remember? Do you know Freddie? Do you know Freddie Bethune?
Freddie.
Hi, Freddie.
I think that you might have come after his time.
Possibly.
I think they overlapped a little bit. Freddie worked for the government.
See,
and,
I need to come
he
to New
started
Wide
the
and
Lexington
order.
Dark Skin Wars.
Yeah, yeah. He's the originator. You were just told to come to New York and organize his studio.
Okay.
So
Although I'm gonna take that flattery because I love butter. I could design nothing better than Freddie.
Freddie does have a nice eye for design. He showcases it all the time in his work.
He is New York's own #1 designer.
Ooh.
Did you hear that? I don't know if you heard
Oh,
that.
Man, that's a big. That's
New
a big,
York's own #1 designer.
#1.
#1.
Not 2, not 3, 1. That's right.
Oh my goodness, I'm graced by awesomeness in the house, on the stream.
What?
Man, what is going
Oh,
on?
right here.
What is going on?
Quarter over here. What?
It's awesome.
Dude, I think your studio set is cooler as well.
Oh, I mean, I like the display in the background. Oh, I do like ninjas. I do like me some
You
ninjas.
like
Hey, Matt, you know what he needs? He needs you to come and put some of those LED lights in the background so you
Oh,
can
yeah,
act like
so-
those
So
statues.
you're trying to get some LED lights for your statue.
I wasn't trying to get anything.
Oh, she's designing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said,
let's see,
I just sit down and work.
Yeah, so yeah, you need some lights underneath the table.
That's true. I don't need any lights underneath my
Yeah,
table.
the LED light strips are pretty cheap too.
I'm like, but I don't need any. What am I gonna do with lights underneath my table?
So you can see.
I could.
Like I'm just saying, like if you had like you want to put space for like okay, for instance, like you got cords and stuff, and you're like,
Right.
okay, I need to put the light on. Perfect.
I
Like
guess.
I have like shelves with my books and stuff underneath the shelf, underneath my desk too. So.
How do you do that?
I
I'm
know,
like,
you're like 97 feet tall.
I know. How do you
Where
do
you
that?
looking?
When I'm sitting,
I hit my legs.
no, when I'm sitting, you just bend down and open it like and pull it off the shelf.
Is it
That's
that far? I mean,
Yeah, it's like that close.
because I got anything that's under here. Like I got the computer down here, always hit it. Doesn't matter. I'll be over here. I'll be over here. I always hit it.
Yeah, I manage like I put it over to the side, and I have like this space for my legs and stuff, and then I have like another shelf like right over here, so
Right.
I like leave this much space for my legs.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna change up the
helps.
change up the scenery so you guys can see different things.
Swagged
He
out.
wants you to have a gamer setup, is what it sounds like. It does sound like he wants me to have a gamer setup, which would be cool, but I actually saw a design setup for a person who does she makes her own masks and artwork and all kinds of stuff, and
Whimsy Arts.
whimsy crafting,
Whimsy Craft.
whimsy crafting, and has an encompassed U, so it's a U and then an extra table. I mean, I need more space in my house to have that, but the ability to actually turn from the computer to a drawing desk to a a crafting desk, that would just be beautiful. I mean, because one of the things that I really like, I want to do more like prop design. Like, I really want to do more prop design, and now Michaels is carrying Warbler, and so
they have like some good sales going on.
yeah,
too.
and so you can actually make some really cool stuff. But I mean,
Yeah, 'cause I remember you said you wanted to make like weapons and stuff.
yeah,
I was like, yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
that'd be sweet, and Single Digit, who's normally on Twitch, he does
He's doing
3D
3D
printing.
printing, yeah.
He's doing 3D printing, and he was like, oh, he wants to do stuff in foam and Warbler and stuff like that because it's cheaper.
Yeah,
And so I'm like, man,
materials. Yeah.
and the thing is that he could print out the extra parts. So if you're making a sword, you make the hilt you print that out so it's
Right.
nice and sturdy,
Yeah.
and then you can make everything else out of foam and save yourself some
Which
money.
is ridiculously cool because I watch people do like all kinds of crazy stuff with 3D prints. I mean, they just put screws in it. And just,
He made a full-on like anime speed racer helmet. Like, it was weird, and I'm just like, wait, that's all 3D printed? He's like, yeah, and then I sanded it down, shined it up, painted it, put some gloss over it. Looks like a real helmet.
oh my goodness.
And it's just like,
Crazy.
that's insane. I want to be able to do
Yeah,
that.
because my only concern was like with the 3D stuff was like some of it was brittle, some of it was too brittle.
Not anymore.
yeah.
Not anymore. They're talking about 3D stuff that you can use and print at home that you could lean on. Like you prop it up and you can just lean on it and it won't snap.
Like, did you see the 3D printed car at the Harvard? The whole 3D printed car.
Really?
It's a whole car. I was like, this is 3D printed. Then when you walk up to it, you're like, oh, that's crazy.
Wow.
Like, it's crazy, yeah.
I
And
mean,
it rides. I was
I'm
like,
sure.
what?
Well, I mean, it's SCAD. They product designed a car. I mean, it wasn't 3D. It was before 3D printing, but they made that from scratch. You had to get the frame and the engine and all that stuff. But everything else, they upholstered the seats. Everything else they made in house,
My goodness.
and it was awesome. It was a death trap. The way they designed it, though, because the windshield, because it was convertible, and the windshield was right here on the dude. Like, I mean, it was out, right? But if you hit something, the windshield was just going through your face. I mean, it was not the
That's
smartest
not
of
dangerous.
design,
Yeah.
but it looked cool. It looked cool. Then they made a motorcycle. They made a boat,
Right.
and they took that boat out on the river
You
all
know,
the time.
Aesthetically, it looks good, but functionality.
I was like, they're like, you want to get in it? I'm like, no.
It's my head be appealing.
I was like, no, thank you. I'm okay with not dying today. And so we'll get this right.
That's your foot.
Wanted to do some more color comps. I have to restart my computer, and I didn't check it before I started streaming. So then I went to stream, and I'm like, my pen doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, at first I thought you were gonna say, well, I didn't save, and I'd have been like,
no,
really?
no,
Really? You of all people didn't
no,
save?
no.
I know you didn't. What?
Saving is definitely something I do on the regular,
I didn't
except
save. If you didn't save, we would have been fighting.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, drop it.
Nope.
You didn't save? You turned the power off on everybody. Remember that?
It was like, no. But one of my students from Norfolk State, he started asking about the character design process. And so I was showing him how I go about making characters. And, you know, I do multiple iterations of color, multiple iterations of drawings, you know, and it's all on top of, you know, the template. So I made a template for the thing so I don't have to worry about proportions, and then I just draw on top of them, you know, and stuff like that.
Concept art.
Yeah, you know, and to be honest, what's funny is I didn't learn this. Like when I went to school, I went to SCAD, and SCAD is, you know, it's an Ivy League, I guess they say now. It's an Ivy League art school, and you know, it was what I was learning was draw it again and again and again and again and again and again. And while that really works so that you can get the character, is like the character in your brain so you can draw them again and again and again, that's great. But if you don't know your character from the start, figuring out how to draw them is only going to hinder the design process.
Right.
You know, and we had Blue Line there then. We had printers and computers and stuff like. We could have done this. This would have been easy, right? And it would have pushed character design so much further.
I forgot I was supposed to turn this stupid recorder back on.
So, you know, it's interesting that I picked this up by looking at paintings, concept paintings and stuff like that, where they did this repeatedly, and I'm like, well, I'm not a painter, but that process can be used.
Did you silhouettes too?
Yep.
Yeah, one guy, he was I told you he was teaching me some stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, he was just talking about just nothing but like doing silhouettes.
Silhouettes, yep.
And he was just like, from silhouettes you can just get the whole idea of what you're gonna draw and then fill it in.
What's funny is that I try and do the silhouettes, right? And I find myself trying to add. I keep adding. I do the black and white silhouettes that you see in concept books, where they do the silhouette and then they cut out the details with white. I find myself doing that way more than just doing silhouettes. But when I was doing weapon designs,
Good night, gentlemen.
good night.
Is your bedtime now?
I was in bed before you knocked on my door, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you're asleep. What's your bedtime?
Whenever I go upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like what, 10, 10:30?
Well, it is 10.
It was 10:30.
Well, I mean,
10:30 is
once-
past bedtime.
Yeah. Once we hit those inappropriate comments, it's when it really is.
It
Someone
passed
should have
bedtime.
tucked me in already.
I didn't hear any comments though.
I'm trying to save it.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to keep it family friendly.
Okay. Yeah. I forgot he's stringing. I keep forgetting he's still in one.
I mean, yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm like, I think I showed enough, and I feel like I don't know, but it's getting kind of late, and Mr. I don't want to know if you want me to put out your name like that, Mr. Photographer man.
You can say Mr. Houston.
Mr. Houston here
I came late.
might want me to turn it off so we don't ruin any secrets or anything like that. So I mean, to be honest, I probably should go ahead and turn it off so that you guys aren't bored just listening to me talk to a former colleague of mine. And you know, we started off so strong. We were teaching character design and talking about concepts and stuff. I was like, we were hitting it, and then it was like, oh, done. Nope. Oh, you remember Mike?
Yeah, of course, Mike. Where's Mike? How's Mike doing?
He was like, oh, Mr. Houston, I haven't talked to Mr. Houston in a while.
Dude, like, he stopped with his Patreon. I was supporting his Patreon for forever. And I was like, what? Where'd he go? Where's the music?
He just cut out on you.
Stopped.
He
Yeah.
just bounced on you.
I was like, you know the rules. You never stop. Never
Right.
stop.
And I keep playing your music in different videos, man.
Yeah.
So
What the heck?
I pull out the Dark Legacy.
How's Mr. Houston?
Here, we can move this over.
Now look at this guy. This guy. Tell him he has my number.
Hear you?
You have my number. Just you can text me or call me or something. Just, let us know you're still alive, jeez.
He was just like, I'm back. Message me sometime. I have new music for you. You do? You talking about me? You have new music for me? Because
Look, Mike, he needs it.
What are you talking about?
He needs music.
I have you. What are you talking about?
You're using YouTube's okay. You can use this music.
Okay.
But Mike can give you original music.
Well, yes, but you know what? I ain't rich,
Wait,
man.
Look. And the other thing is too, like, okay, you got this ninja thing going, right?
Right.
Ask Mike to make a couple of ninja tracks. I'm pretty sure he would love to do that.
Mike, make me a couple ninja tracks. He says he doesn't have your number.
That's a lie. Okay. Look, it's okay. Just type it to him. Can't you type it to him when you're in the message, right? Oh wait, it's gonna be public.
It's gonna go public to everybody.
All right.
You would love to do that? I would love to have it, man. I am not kidding. I would love to have some ninja music. Absolutely, 100%. And the more you give me, the more I would put on stream, and I just keep playing it when it pops up. I would tell people, I'm like, oh, you need to go here and support my man, because this music came from him. Just like when I used it in my YouTube videos, when I used some of your music, it always had a link to your SoundCloud, and any place that you gave me, I sent people there. Well, I mean, I put the links up there. If they went there, is completely different. Is your oh hell, man, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I probably don't have your email anymore, because we used to do that through AI and it imploded.
I sent it to your Facebook Messenger, so just check your Messenger.
All right, so
yeah, but go ahead and finish this.
he said you should have heard him. He sent it to your Facebook Messenger. How am I gonna find you?
He's on Facebook.
That's true. That is true.
He's on Facebook.
I mean, you just said that, but
I'm gonna find you. Same way I did.
Same way you did. It's true. And I know we're friends on Messenger, so
like
I'll message you on Facebook.
Exactly.
Maybe, haha. We can do that for now.
Yeah, for now, because he's always like, I used to watch your streams and stuff too. Like,
oh man, you used to stream?
Yeah, you stream Final Fantasy and all that.
See, I'm not a video game streamer.
I watch some of them sometimes.
I don't watch that.
I even watched him cry at The Walking Dead. Oh, that was great. He whole cried. And I said it on the internet. It's embarrassing, right? He's like, man, this is so hard.
This is too much. But yeah, no, if you're willing to make some ninja music, I will rock it.
That's right.
I will rock it, because all I'm doing, like, my biggest thing right now is Ninja Empire. That's what I do. I thought about streaming music, but it's so stressful. Really?
And I don't want to hype anybody up, but you saw how Dark Legacy did, right? Like, it did really good, right? So
it did.
Just saying.
Oh, I don't know if you noticed, but I just won an award for my work on Dark Legacy. So yeah.
Where's
the Debbie Jones? I posted it on Facebook. Yes. Excuse me, Mr. Houston. Do you want to take the seat? People can see you.
What? Okay, you got Lysol spray your seat down?
Well, you know.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We on camera. I took over. Let me see. I thought about streaming music, but it's so stressful. Yes, it is. It is very stressful. Streaming period is stressful, to be brutally honest. I know, right? Dude, it's crazy. A lot has happened. And since the last time we spoke, we need to update like ASAP. ASAP. We need to talk ASAP. And here comes the master. Sensei.
30 seconds of a track for 2 hours or something. The last thing I need is anyone telling me anything.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. He's good. That is the man.
That's good.
That is the man.
Alright, but I am going to cut it.
Yes, cut it.
I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. So, Mike, I'll be looking to message you shortly.
Stay black, brother.
Alright, I'll talk to you guys later.